By now we have discussed the attitudes. We know what attitudes are. We will still repeat it. However, psychologists really, within the concept of social psychology, tried to identify what attitudes are truly and how they're structured, as well as what is the function attitudes have within humans' reaction with other humans. So the structure of attitudes has been described elsewhere, and we use both terms in our psychology, as the ABC model of attitudes or the three-component model of attitudes. It's called ABC because they believe that any attitude has three interrelated components: A for affective, B for the behavioral component of this attitude, and C the cognitive part of this. That's why it's called A, B, C model. And all three models have to be present to have a specific attitude. So I need to have affective, that is the emotional component in there, the behavioral, the action of this emotion, and the cognitive part of it. I need to be thinking that. I need to believe that. Okay? And we're going to discuss more. All the information we need to know is here. I'm going to analyze it more. But I want you to remember that this ABC model is mainly expressed in the marketing and when we really act as consumers. On the other side, the function of attitudes are elsewhere called the Katz model, is based on Katz's theory from 1960s. Katz was a social psychologist who supported that attitude is really important because it serves some functions for the person. That's why people can have different stands on the same issue, just because different functions are expressing different people. So in some people we have knowledge, in other people we have value expressed through this attitude, or in other words, they express themselves. Other times, in cases mainly of what we called earlier cognitive dissonance, they try to justify themselves. It's called ego-defensive. And sometimes it could be utilitarian or adaptive, when people try to somehow learn from experiences and progress further. This is what the general instruction is. The first part of this video will discuss the structure of attitudes, and there will be another video that will discuss the functions of attitudes. Every year, there is a question for the model and the structures and the functions. Okay, so we have to be very careful when we study it. We continue on this, and we start with the attitudes. I want you to remember, as we said in the past, attitudes can be related to an object, a person, a group, an issue, an idea, anything that's related to our life. And as we said before, they can be positive, negative or neutral. Remember, the strength can be a strong positive or a strong negative, but cannot be a strong neutral attitude. But they have to be a specific aspect of our life, okay, and the situation we're living in. Of course, because we have a positive or negative disposition, the attitude eventually involves reactions, and if it's positive, I like it. If it's negative, I dislike it. So I can have feelings pro or against, and I prefer, or sometimes I turn my back onto something. Okay, that's negative. Other times I may be just non-involving. I may be neutral. Now, I want you to remember that we are learning attitudes. I want you to remember from the previous lesson, in the nature of attitudes, can be learned through classical conditioning, direct exposure and classical conditioning and strength. Could be through observational learning, remember? And sometimes could be happening through operant conditioning. Something is pleasant to me, my chocolate, and I'm continuing that pleasant behavior. Sometimes also can be based on a cultural or social background. Remember the social situation component. And we do form attitudes, and we do change them because the other people are telling us, because of cognitive dissonance. Remember, we're forced to change because our attitude doesn't match our behavior. And we know our attitudes, but there are others we are surprised when we are realized that we need to express them, and we do have them. I want to remind you the example of my friend Eleni, the racist one. She was really surprised when she came to understand that and admit that she was racist. Now, what attitude do you see here in this relationship? What do you see here, and what do you see there? What do you see here, and what do you see there? Remember that, because sometimes body language and behavior demonstrate specific attitudes as well. And we may not be able to understand it, but others who can read the body language can understand stuff. So attitudes are relatively stable organization of beliefs, feelings, and tendencies towards object of thought. Okay? I want you to remember that if they can ask you what's an attitude, you have to say relatively stable organization of beliefs, feelings, and tendencies towards objects or thoughts. Now, this means that we have special tendencies towards social issues, towards special groups. Therefore, there's prejudice. Remember that, we're going to discuss it. We have special predisposition and tendency towards institutions, towards products, towards people, okay? And they can be positive, negative, and ambivalent. Remember the ambivalency we discussed earlier? Now, how do you acquire your attitude? Mainly from direct personal experience or by observing our role model, our parents. And also this can happen from teachers, friends, and of course, media. The major attitude maker of our time. Now, Is my behavior a reflection of my attitude? Of course it is. And this is what we're going to discuss. How much we love or we don't love our attitudes. We always told, change this attitude, I don't like this attitude, because the way you have persuaded your mind to be thinking, it is the way you behave or the way you act. Remember we said that attitudes are related to the strength, the accessibility, how easy it comes to the mind, how salient a particular attitude is a given situation. Salient means how important it is to us, how specific and significant, and how relevant is this attitude to our behavior. And all this help to make us behave almost constantly and predictable all the time. So, as Oriana said in the class, actually that becomes part of our personality. Okay? May not be a trait, but because of the habituation, can become part of our trait, becomes our signature attitude or behavior. And for some people, specific attitudes match their actions, and for other people, their attitudes are different to their behavior. That's why people override their attitudes to behave properly. They control themselves. Introverted people, that's a trait. Introverted people, they override their attitudes to behave properly. They know that somebody is rude, but they don't act rude. They control it. Some other people consistently match their actions with their attitudes. And I think they are more happy. Now, I want you to read this. I want you to understand specifically this part. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can change, is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me, and 90% it's the attitude I have towards this. And I can change the world because I have a specific attitude. We're going to discuss now the structure of attitudes. Remember, I love chocolate. And I want you to tell me, how could you determine that somebody loves chocolates? By observing their behavior. I hope that something came to your mind already. So probably you see somebody eating chocolate, then you assume, oh, he must like chocolate. Or you can have an affective reaction. You have a like towards eating chocolate. Or you are telling to yourself, or I'm telling you how much I like chocolate. Or my friends are telling you, Alexandra has birthday, what should we buy for her? Let's buy her chocolate. She loves chocolate. And last but not least, when I see chocolate, I'm drooling, or my heart rate beeps up. Both are physiological measurements. Or my eyes are opening wide. My nose smells chocolate. Okay, all physiological measurements show to me that I like it. And that's why we call this model of structure the ABC model, because it shows the A for the way I feel, affective, the behavior, what I do, and the cognition, what I believe, what I'm thinking. I'm thinking chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. And then what I'm going to do 12 o'clock at night, I'm going to buy chocolate. And how I feel about chocolate. Ooh, I do love chocolate. So I started from the cognition and I went backwards. Can I start from a behavior? I'm going and buying chocolate. What I'm feeling? I want to eat it now. What I'm thinking? Chocolate is the best thing in the world. Can I go the other way? Can I start from the affect and go to behavior and cognition? I can. I feel like chocolate. I'm going to buy chocolate. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the best chocolate I ever had. So, can be any one of them the starter, but they have to be all present when the attitude is happening. A stands for affect, affection, liking, not attitude. Usually students have this as their common mistake. We ask them A, B, C, model of attitudes, and they say A for attitude. I have a positive attitude. That's wrong. Remember, A stays for affection. Yes, is for affection, not for attitude. The whole thing is the model of attitudes. As we said, everything has to be present, and I want you to remember that the affective tells us about the emotional reaction. Love or hate, no neutral thing. And I make a judgment at this time. Okay? I know that I am positive, negative, or sometimes neutral. But emotion is the major one I want you to remember. Behavior, I have to choose to behave or not to behave a certain way. And cognitive is all my beliefs and my thoughts on this specific thing. I want you to remember that it is linked to knowledge, and this knowledge is developed by our experiences. Okay? And I want you to remember that it can be real or not real. It can be verified or not. But it's a belief. People are very strong that they are not aliens. They are not extraterrestrial cultures. I hope you remember we did it last year. Others believe that they're aliens, and it was a major activity we did, and die to go up in heaven. Remember we did the activity about cults? So people who are believing in UFOs, you can't change them. They act and behave and have an affective attitude towards UFOs. They believe, they dressed, and they behave as aliens are here. Now, I don't think that I need to continue this anymore. We call it affective component because it refers to the feelings and emotions. Okay? Cognitive component allures to our knowledge, beliefs and ideas. Okay? And B is the behavioral component. Person's attitude towards the object. Okay? I want you to remember that if we change one component, this is generally meaning that something will change. I always insist with my example of chocolate because it's very strong. I like chocolate. I go and buy chocolate, and I'm thinking that chocolate is a good thing. But if I read a new article that tells me that the chocolate is poisoning us. It has a secret ingredient that poisoning us. Most likely I'm not going to go and buy chocolate. And then I may persuade myself, remember cognitive dissonance, that I don't like chocolate anymore. And then I will believe it, that I don't like chocolate anymore. So remember, when one is changing, all the other components are changing. Now, it's a mental component, the cognitive. The affective is the emotional component, and the behavioral is the action component. Okay? The action component is the one that has the predisposition to act on a specific way. Sometimes the behavior comes automatically as a reflex before we think about it, before the cognition. Sometimes even before the emotional. Yeah? Before we think, we feel, we act. Sometimes automatically. Okay? Impulsively. Now, many examples. We have to teach it very well. We have to learn it. This is the answer. This is the question they're asking all the time. And if you learn how to answer this, you will have 4 to 6 good marks. Attitude towards dance music. What's my attitude towards dance music? I like it. I feel good when I dance because I enjoy. And because I enjoy that, what I'm going to do? Of course, I'm going to dance. I will enroll myself in dance classes. Or I will go Saturday night and I'm going to dance. And I'm doing all this because I believe that dance is relaxing me. And I believe that dance is good for me. So, these are the reasons behind dance music makes me feel good. And because dance music makes me feel good and I cannot go and dance in a club anymore because I'm too old, now I'm going to buy videos and watch videos on TV, on YouTube, and I'm dancing in my room. So I don't like any other music. I like dance music. Can I be more specific? Yes, I can be more specific. I can say salsa dance music is the best, or tango. So and then I'm more passionate. Remember the specificity? Why? Because I remember my mum dancing tango, parents, the teachers, or mere exposure. Yeah? All the time I'm seeing that, all the time I used to watch that, now I'm doing that. Again, ABC model and marketing. The ABC model actually creates hierarchy of the effects. So what they're doing in the marketing, when they advertise, they make us feel in a specific way about the product. I want to remember the Truman Show movie we've seen, and I'm going to remember that because they liked Truman, people liked Truman, and they were buying things that Truman was buying because he was the kind, and they were feeling that they will be the same kind person as he was. Why they put beautiful girls as the models that they promote facial creams, facial products? Because the people believe that if they can use that cream, they will be like the model. They are beautiful women, even they are 60 or 70 years old, they're very beautiful women. And I am thinking that if I put this cream, I will become like them. So, because they make me feel in a specific way, Remember what we said? If I have a strong attitude towards something and I have a strong emotional support into this attitude, my behavior is predictable. So if I am positive towards something and I have a strong positive reaction towards something, and my exposure is direct and mere, exposure by watching, by observing, by product placement, what am I going to do? What will be my behavior? Of course I will respond with a predicted way. Of course I'm going to buy an iPhone. Everybody's buying an iPhone. Everybody is using iPhone. All the apps in the world are on iPhone. It's very cult. It's very in. I need to have an iPhone. And then when I buy it and I see that iPhone, oh my God, it has minimum battery life, I believe that it's the best phone ever. Yep. So I'm believing that this is a good product. That's why I'm buying it. Well, that's why I bought it, because it's the best product. So the same happens with the cigarette and the smoke. You may believe that smoking is bad for you, have negative feelings when you light up, but you continue to smoke. Remember? And this is an undermining of the ABC model, because it's not the only one to define attitudes. Remember cognitive dissonance? This is what's happening with the smoke. So sometimes we behave in ways that are consistent with our feelings and thoughts. Okay? So some attitudes are verifiable and others are not verifiable. So some beliefs can be verified and others cannot. So the attitude that's involving a verifiable belief is more easily changed than an attitude involving an unverifiable belief. Why? Should be the opposite, shouldn't be? An attitude involving an verifiable belief is changing easier. So you can verify something, but still you can change attitude. And when something is unverifiable, like the aliens, people are not changing attitude. Why? Ring a bell? Justification? Cognitive dissonance? Okay. I want you to remember that the three-component ABC theory assumes that all three components must be present. Okay? True or false? Can you tell me one case where you can have the belief, certain belief, but the attitude is not there? Okay, I think you can. And this is how we're trying to trick it, because this difference between attitude and behavior is creating tension and stress. Okay? I know I'm doing something wrong, but I'm still doing it. I know it's bad to kill people, but I'm killing them. I know that it is bad to kill myself with depression, anxiety, and anorexia, but I'm doing that. That's huge tension. And this is how we really change cognitive dissonance with cognitive behavior therapy. I want you to watch this video. It's online. It's on the link. I'll put it on the Near Productivity, and it is online on our website. If I click it here, you won't be able to listen to it, but it's a training, cognitive behavior therapy, where a girl who is doing brilliantly well in her life, she has failed. She failed some exams, and she thinks that she has to quit uni. She can't believe that she, the one she's so good, can be failing. And this creates so much tension that she needs to change the attitude. Loving uni, going to uni, wanting to be something. And she is quitting that just to match the attitude or the cognition that I'm not worth it to the situation, failing the test. I don't. So this is the one you will be able to see. I don't want to continue anymore, but it is a true session, and you will be able to see it online with a linked video and the Nearpod. Please do that. I keep sending the homework, so you will be able to access it all the time. After that, there will be some activities. There's no point to continue that. From the book and from previous exams. And there will be as type in open-ended questions. I didn't have quizzes on this. I may put some quiz questions in the middle of the lesson to see where we are, but most of the activities are like this. Okay, this is from the exams 2012, and this from 28 January 2007. There was a time where they asked, using an example, your example, describe the trim component model. And we're going to do the exercise 3.2 on page 49. Okay. These are the 6 parts of the exercise. So we're going to write them. And the next one we're going to discuss in the next video is why do we have attitudes and what functions these attitudes are serving.